Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I thought Feiruz would be a wonderful way to start the session, but let's begin. My name is Jesse Wheeler, he, him. I am calling in from unceded Ohlone territory, otherwise referred to as the California Bay Area. We all are calling in from somewhere, and I find it very apt to give a land acknowledgement. So please feel free to, in the chat, list your name and where you're calling in from. Maybe if you represent a particular group, you can list that too. We're very glad for you all to be here with us today. I'm going to start with a sort of a guiding passage for this campaign that we have from Psalm 87. On the holy mountain stands the city founded by the Lord. He loves the city of Jerusalem more than any other dwelling of Jacob. O city of God, what glorious things are said of you. I will count Egypt and Babylon among those who know me, also Philistia and Tyre, and even distant Ethiopia. They have all become citizens of Jerusalem. Regarding Jerusalem, it will be said, everyone enjoys the rights of citizenship there. And the Most High will personally bless this city. When the Lord registers the nations, he will say, they have all become citizens of Jerusalem. The people will play flutes and sing, the source of my life springs from Jerusalem. And this session, and we've had a number of sessions so far, but this is part of the Save the Holy City, a campaign for the preservation of indigenous Jerusalem. The indigenous beauty, diversity, culture, and living history of the Holy City are at serious risk of being lost forever. Yet it is precisely the indigenous diversity, culture, and history that make the city holy. A holiness profaned by the evils of forced displacement, racial supremacy, and cultural erasure. We must do what we can to save Jerusalem and preserve the holiness of the holy city. You can check out the website, the webpage at www.fosna.org/SaveJerusalem. I would like to acknowledge organizers and sponsors. This is definitely a coalition campaign, a group effort. And so the Jerusalem Legal Aid and Human Rights Center, or JLAC, Eyewitness Silwan, the Sabeel in Jerusalem, Sabeel Ecumenical Liberation Theology Center, Friends of Wadi Fokeen, Art Forces, the United Methodist Kairos Response, UMKR, the UMC General Board of Church and Society, Unitarian Universalists for Justice and Peace in the Middle East, and who I'm with, Friends of Sabeel North America, or FOSNA, a Christian Voice for Palestine. Some housekeeping. So parts of today's session are being recorded, so plan accordingly with your picture and name. The chat is open and there will be some time for conversation later, but in everything, we ask that you just simply follow the golden rule. So that in everything, do to others as you would have them do to you, for this is the law and the prophets, perfect for chat rooms, and what should be perfect for international relations and conflict and everything else as well. Again, here you can see the website with the toolkit and everything. And so now I would like to introduce Reverend Michael Yoshi, who will be facilitating today's event. Michael, thank you.
Thanks, Jesse. Good to see familiar faces and new ones as well for me. My name is Michael Yoshi. I'm retired United Methodist clergy in the Cal Nevada Annual Conference and also co-chair of the Friends of Wadi Fokeen. So I'm going to do a little bit of share screen, but first I should share with you that I'm coming in from California in Alameda, which we call Chochenyo land, and my pronouns are he, him. Let me get to my screen. So as Jesse has shared kind of what's on the FOSNA website, our campaign to save Jerusalem it has been a process that we've been going through. And so these organizations, I want to share a greeting on behalf of all the organizations that have come together to create this ad hoc campaign for Save Jerusalem. But from the outset, what we want to put out to all of you is that it's in process. So those of you that are coming representing different organizations or different congregational iterations, that we're open to your suggestions on how best to move forward with this campaign, because our objective is to stop the Jerusalem Metropolitan Bill from being enacted, but also much larger in that is the whole colonization of the West Bank that's really before us right now. And we're doing three areas of work, and that is international advocacy with diplomatic missions and NGOs, and then our U.S. congressional outreach here in the U.S. But also we want to emphasize that we're looking to organize grassroots actions locally, regionally, nationally, and globally as well. So for today, there's going to be a focus on outreach to our congressional members, but there'll also be a conversation that Reverend Naomi Southern, our co-chair from Friends of Wadi Fouquet, will facilitate about generating ideas and possibilities for collective actions together as well. So I wanted to share that from the outset. I'm just going to give us a little snapshot of this because I think most of you have been to some of our events to hear about the Jerusalem Bill. But this came to our attention as Friends of Wadi Fouquet in the spring of this year, and we're very concerned about it because it involves the village of Wadi Fouquet as well. Here's the map of the annexation of settlements north, east, and south of the Jerusalem municipality. And it's been part of the Greater Jerusalem Plan for decades in the making. And in fact, this was introduced in the Knesset in 2017, but it was turned away from international pressure. So we do have hope that with international pressure and advocacy that we can stop this from being moved on this year. It was introduced in the Knesset in March of 2025, and it's in waiting as we speak. You can see there the settlement of Givat Ze'ev in the north, Ma'ale Adumim in the east, and then Gush Etzion in the south. And so it extends, I mean, while our focus is on Jerusalem as a municipality, this would increase the footprint of the Jerusalem municipality if it was passed, but it involves folks that are north of Jerusalem and south as well into the Bethlehem district, like Wadi Fouquet, which is in Gush Etzion settlement block, along with other villages like Nahalim, Hussan, and Batir. Here's also, we're giving attention to this because this was approved, I think, the week of August 20th for the E1 settlement expansion, which is that red block there right next to Ma'ale Adumim. And so you can see how the whole situation of dividing the north and south of the West Bank is in play right now as we speak. And we're, of course, concerned about the impact on Palestinians with settlements to be annexed to the Jerusalem IDs. There's fragmentation, annexation, and erasure that's taking place. And we know this in the larger context of the West Bank, of the fragmentation of the West Bank and obstruction of movement between northern and southern West Bank. The accelerated settlement expansion that's going on. It was said that 2024 was the year of annexation, where there was more settlement expansion than the previous 20 years combined. Increased home demolitions, land confiscation, and violent displacement taking place to Palestinian residents in various villages throughout the West Bank, and then increased settler violence backed by Israeli military. We've heard a lot about that taking place. And then, of course, the dismantling of Palestinian institutions and infrastructure through these kinds of maneuvers, including the approval of the RAC annexation and then the E1 settlement expansion as well. So how we're seeing this, we're not trying to take away attention from Gaza, because we know that what's happening in Gaza is erasure through genocide and annihilation. But in the West Bank, what we see taking place is erasure through fragmentation, coercion, and the annexation of land, piece by piece. I wanted to show this because this was a news article in the Israeli press, which showed Netanyahu meeting with the mayor of Beitar Illit. His name is Mayor Rubenstein, and this is the settlement that is on the hill taking land from Wadi Fouquet. And they met on August 17th, and it was publicly pronounced that the mayor of Rubenstein said it's time to urge sovereignty over all of Judea Samaria, which is the term they use for the West Bank. and he was evoking their scriptures according to how they're looking at the theological perspective on things. This was a briefing session that Sabeel did in July for the diplomatic missions and NGOs. There were 17 countries that were represented there, just to give you a flavor of the international aspect of things that have taken place. So our coalition is sponsoring the briefing to congressional staff called Legalization of Settlement Annexation, the Jerusalem Metropolitan Bill, and E1 Settlement Expansion. This will take place next week on Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and we'll have from JLAC, Issam Aroudi, who's the director there, who's been really helping us a lot with compiling resources and analysis of the Jerusalem Bill. We'll have Zuhair Rajabi from Eyewitness Silwan to represent what's happening there in East Jerusalem, and then Father Bashar Jawadle from Taipei to show that there's impacts going on north of Jerusalem. I'll be representing Friends of Wadi Faqeen to show what's happening south of Jerusalem as well. And our moderator will be Hassan El Tayyab, who's with the Friends Committee on National Legislation. So I want to turn it over now to Colleen Moore. I want to thank Colleen because the General Board of Church and Society is being the host for the briefing, and Colleen will move us into a time of action.
Yes, thank you so much, Michael. So, on this online briefing that we are hosting next Monday, what we'll be doing today is calling to get the attention of Congress, specifically to get staffers to attend this briefing. And again, that's next Monday, September 15th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So, what we're going to do, we're going to kind of give people about 20 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes to make calls right now to your Senate offices, your two Senate offices, and the office of your representative as well. So I'm going to share my screen with the call script. Let's see. Hopefully you can see that. And if you're not sure who your senators and representatives are, you can go to this page and hopefully you can see that. And I can also put the link to it in the chat so everybody can click on that. And this is a great tool if you're not sure who your member of Congress is and your senators, and you can put in your address. I'm just going to use an example. This is not my real address, but this will bring up my representative and my two senators. And so this is a great tool to find your representative and your two senators, and it brings up their DC office phone number. So once you do that, and if you already know who your senators and your representatives are, you can go directly to their website, or you can still use this tool and find their DC office number at the bottom of their homepage. And so when you call, you may get a front desk staffer or a voicemail. And, either way, you can read the script. If you do get a front desk staffer, you can read the script, which I will pull up again here, and I'll zoom in on it too so people can see it. And I think, yes, we can put it in the chat if that is easier. So once you do call, if you get a front desk staffer, you can ask for their contact information for their foreign affairs staffer to send them information on the briefing, and we can also send you the information to send them. I'll put that in the chat as well. So if you've done these calls before, or if you feel comfortable moving forward, you can, mute yourself, start making those calls. And so this is kind of how you'll go through it of, hello, my name is Colleen Moore. I'm a constituent of, either Senator Tim Kaine, Senator Mark Warren, or Representative Don Beyer. I live in Alexandria, Virginia. My zip code is 22314. I'm calling your attention to the Jerusalem Metropolitan Bill introduced into the Knesset proposing official annexation of Israeli settlement blocks north, east, and south of Jerusalem. This will impact the future of nearby Palestinian villages and set a course for future annexation of the West Bank, further leading to the forced displacement of Palestinians. we are hosting an online briefing to educate offices of Congress on the Jerusalem Metropolitan Bill. The briefing will be held online on Monday, September 15th at 10 a.m. Eastern. Please share this message with your foreign affairs staffers. You can send me their name and I can provide my email address or phone number so I can follow up with the invitation. I, as a person of faith and deep moral conviction, ask that you monitor the situation closely and oppose any effort to further displace Palestinians in Jerusalem or annex the West Bank. Thank you. And so I'm happy to post that in the chat as well. And so Jesse also Jesse put the call page into the chat so you can view that and literally read the script like that. And yeah, so if you've done these calls before, feel free to mute yourself and start making the calls. But if you do have any questions, we can be here to answer questions before you make the calls. So yeah, Michael and Jesse, I don't know if you have any additions before we let people off to make their calls.
All good.
None from me.
Great. Well, we'll be here. You can put in the chat if you have specific questions and we can try to get those answered. But the call page should be in the chat for you to use, or it's being shared on the screen right now.
So we will reconvene in about 20 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, so about 1:40, 1:42 maybe.
Did you have a screen with the phone numbers?
So if you go to the link, I'll put it back in the chat again.
Yeah, no, I have the link.
So if you have the link to the congress.gov that I just put back in the chat to find your member, you can put in your address and it will bring up the 2 Senate offices and the your representative office, and it will have those phone numbers there. So it will be different for everyone, of course, in different states and districts.
Okay, thank you. I got it. I think this is a great idea to give us time to make calls because, there's so many calls I've meant to make and I've only made a few and, otherwise it gets put on the back burner. I don't get around to it. I don't have time. So I think this is really great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, peek behind the curtain, what always happens is when we put out, and multiple organizations, we send out these pages with the email your representatives and call your representatives. And we can get, let's say for, 500 calls after an email. No, 500 emails will translate to about 4 or 5 actual phone calls. So it's kind of by having the space where we're here doing this all together, so it gives us incentive to make those calls, because inevitably we send the email, click, but we don't make the call so often, and we see that in every time we have an action. The emails go out, but we'll make 4 to 5 phone calls.
Can I raise a question? Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, please.
Are you going to send us something with the particulars about the meeting on the 15th? I have a name to call in my representative's office, an email to send them about this, and it would be nice to have the particulars about the actual meeting, the when and where and what for them to see. I have to do a follow-up with a scheduler.
There is some information in the chat, but Colleen can repeat it now.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of challenged when it comes to using the chat. If it could come over an email that I could, print out or use in at the time I do the invitation, that would be helpful with the particulars on it about this. And
Send a follow-up email to Colleen. I
Exact,
think
okay.
that would be the best way to do it, and then work together.
To Colleen, okay, now, who is
We,
Colleen?
we,
I can
and we'll
put-
send out we'll send out an email after this event with some of the key information shared, including
That would be
this event.
super.
Yeah,
That
don't
would
worry.
be
We'll
super. Thank you.
Also, Ruth, where are you located?
I'm in Seattle.
Okay. Are you in Jayapal's office
Yes,
district?
yeah,
Okay.
she's great.
Yes, so you can definitely follow up over email with the information we've put in the chat about, the Zoom link and the date and time and information about the briefing, and my email as well. You can either, get my email to the staffer or send that email or the briefing info with the Zoom link and they can register. So we'll follow up over email about this. So yeah, I think we're coming up on time to start moving on to the other parts of our agenda. But yeah, it seems like people are really getting in contact with people in their reps and senators' office, which is great. So yeah, thank you all so much for making those calls.
So-
And
Colleen, before we
Yes.
move on, could you just explain, did you already send out this invitation to all the congressional offices?
yeah, so this invite has gone out to all foreign affairs and defense staffers of every House and Senate office. I will say sometimes it's not always like the foreign affairs and defense team can be larger than the exact email that I have for them. So it is really helpful as people are sharing in the chat of, they're strongly advising me to send an email to, this email, and some of them I might not have. So I think, calling and emailing is helpful from constituents as well to get more pressure. But yes, this invite has gone out to the contacts that I have in each office.
But hearing from constituents, I definitely want to affirm that there's a lot of power in hearing from, getting calls from, a representative's actual constituents, in addition to an email from a DC staffer. No offense, Colleen, you're doing wonderful, but
But people can say you have already received this.
exactly.
Yes, exactly. Okay, well, I think as people are finishing up their calls in the coming minutes, and again, feel free to make these calls after the call, or I think somebody else mentioned like they've been making these calls almost every day, and that's totally fine. A lot of offices tabulate these calls every day or every week, so you don't have to just make this call, one and done. You can continue to make these calls until the 15th. And you have that call script in the chat and the link that Jesse sent out as well. And we'll send more information over email after. So I think, Michael, it's back to you to finish
Yeah.
out our agenda.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for making your calls. And then I put in the chat also, this is being recorded so that we will send it to you. And then you can share with others who couldn't make it today, and they can make calls tomorrow, the next couple of days before next Monday as well. We want to transition now to a larger conversation, and I want to turn it over to my colleague, Reverend Naomi Southern, who's also the co-chair of Friends of Wadi Fouquet.
Thank you, Michael. I am here in Oakland, California, and so excited to see the enthusiasm we have, and so grateful for all of you who have hang in and do the work and support Palestinians. It's really encouraging to me, and I'm sure to all of us, to see this kind of action taking place. And that's another exciting thing about being part of this alliance of organizations. For me, our little Friends of Wadi Fouquet struggle along in our little area, although it's growing. I don't mean to not be proud of what we've been able to do, but when we get together with all of you, it's so much more encouraging. A sense of a bigger community, a bigger reach, deeper commitments. You're all very inspiring. And part of that is what we are all doing. And so in this last segment of our program, we want to share things that we've been doing at the grassroots level, which we all are, to advance the cause of awareness about Palestine and to work on behalf of our friends and colleagues across the world. So now I'd like to open a conversation for you to share about what you've been doing about the Jerusalem Bill and eventually about all things that you've been doing in terms of advocacy. So I'd like to begin with Jesse or Carol. Could you begin by sharing, and the rest of you, while they're talking, be thinking about what you'd like to share?
Jesse, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to get my slides up here. There we go. So I just have a few slides to discuss when it comes to solidarity, I tend to follow a simple mantra that helps categorize my work: stay informed, take action, and then get involved, because we don't do this work alone. But under take action, I kind of break things down. Some things are more group oriented, some things more individual. And so I have these 4 steps. Step 1 is drawing a line in the sand. This asks the question, what type of person you will choose to be, what kind of people we will collectively be when witnessing injustice, and so it's making that choice and to commit to seek the preservation of indigenous Jerusalem here, and by being here, by making these calls, that's what you're doing. Step 2 is about shifting the narrative. It's asking the question, what is it that makes the city holy? It's people sometimes think of, the settlers actually speak of redeeming the land and redeeming the city as the sense of purification of the unholy. And yet that's not, in that Bible passage that we read from Psalms, actually what makes the city holy is its beauty, diversity, history, culture there. So you're shifting that narrative. So part of that is look to, and you can share the links, but part of our campaign, we worked with Eyewitness Silwan and Art Forces, and they have a Look Palestinians in the Eyes campaign. That's something to do. Always in a church context, you can preach Palestine, or in a secular context, teach Palestine. I can share a link to this upcoming action going on. Flood the newsroom. So we can send letters and calls to your Congress folks, but there are also those who are supposed to be reporting the truth and often aren't. So there's actually a link to all the main editorial offices, and I can send that out too, and share to shift that narrative, to change that narrative. Step 3 is speaking truth to power. Who has power or influence to affect change? We know the US government has the power to stop this. So we call, we write, we call again, we bird dog, we speak truth to the power. And also, in addition to representatives, church leadership, write to those in leadership and saying, hey, you're not saying anything about, every day we study the holy people in the Holy Land in Sunday, but look at it now. Or work towards denominational resolutions, that sort of thing. And then step 4 is praying with your feet, taking action. This is the grassroots action. So 1 is use the materials from the online toolkit within other actions and campaigns that you're doing. Just share that. But also want to specifically highlight, and as a campaign, the Save Jerusalem campaign is endorsing the boycott of Chevron. Actually, there's a complicit companies campaign being put together as a way of joining the larger campaign, but sort of specifically with the faith lens and angle. I do want to highlight UMK, United Methodist Kairos Response, one of our partners who's been doing this for over a year. But we have this complicit companies campaign to, complicit corporations to expose and divest. It's a faith-rooted, Christian-led economic resistance campaign targeting 2 companies complicit in the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. The it's actually focused both on Palantir and Chevron, while joining with and supplementing the existing efforts on these companies. This is in a separate campaign, it's joining a larger movement to expose through educational webinars and resources, robust communications and press strategy, creative public witnesses, congressional advocacy, to divest, seeking pledges from individuals, churches, institutions. You can create liturgies of divestment and repentance. In fact, there will be some interesting stuff as we lead into Advent related to this campaign and how churches have actually some liturgical resources related to it. And boycott stations, individual stations and products. So Chevron, there's Chevron, but not all parts of the country have Chevron, but many have Caltex or Texaco, Havoline products and other products. They spot up a Hess Corporation, which does a lot of the drilling around. And so why boycott Chevron? Chevron's fossil fuel extraction in the region supports Israeli apartheid and the genocide in Palestine. And we're calling on them to immediately cut its contracts with Israel and end its role in the climate devastation globally. And through coordinated boycott, Palestinians and allies are building a global movement to hold Chevron accountable for its crimes. I'm gonna just skip on and just look a little bit of, so why Chevron? So Chevron funds the crimes that Israel's committing, over 462 million in tax revenue has gone to the Israeli government. And also they power. So Chevron gas fuels nearly 50% of Israel's electricity grid, which includes military bases, prisons, and settlements. Their gas fields in the Mediterranean Sea play a key role in keeping the genocide machine running and in the overall apartheid and ethnic cleansing regime. And of course, their harm is global. We are not the first group to call out Chevron. The environmental advocacy groups have been in their sights for many, many, many years. But it's winnable. This strategy has helped end apartheid before. Shell was targeted during the, in the anti-apartheid campaigns of South Africa. Israel's economy is struggling, and so it might not be the best investment for Chevron. And they've been fairly, they've actually only been in the market since 2020. So it's fairly new too. So they could say this is not worth our time and withdraw. And also Chevron has hundreds of locations across the country, and we can use that power to pressure the company. And for those of you thinking, well, what about local franchise owners? There's a whole document actually from the campaign focused on how to engage with local owners who you might see as members of your community, but to engage them in on this. And the environmental justice movement is with us. I'm gonna end here. We can talk about Palantir another time, but I wanted to see if Carol wanted to add anything more from UMKR's efforts.
Thanks, Jesse.
And I'll put some links to join in the chat. So,
okay, yeah. As Jesse said, United Methodist for Kairos Response has been working with the Boycott Chevron campaign for quite some time. Our organization did actually send a letter to the company, and that was about a year ago, and we did actually get a response from them, of course, denying the allegations that we made against the company as to, the harm that they were causing. And we're in the process now of addressing that response that we got from them. So we're doing, a lot of work with that campaign, and, it just, to be active, is really, and since you're on this call, obviously you are active, and you do have a concern about what's going on and want to be active. So I thank you for being here today and working on this, and the boycotts work. I know some of the things that we've done or encouraged people to do as part of UMKR is actually go in and talk to those station owners, and visit with them, because some of them aren't even aware of what's going on and what they are representing. And then, or, put up signs inside the station. So Teresa Basile, who is our communications director, just put a note in the chat with a link to our page on our United Methodist for Kairos Response website. So take a look at that. There's a lot of good information there too. Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse and Carol, for giving us very practical steps, ways to understand, to get clear, to have actions to do, and plenty of information. So I'd like to hear from others of you who have been doing things in your local area that might help other people find ways to be active or to become better informed. What's something that you have done that has made a difference to your life or to lives of people you know? Just speak up. You're a big group. I know you've been doing something out there.
I will
Hello.
go ahead and just add something, I guess. Oh, I see Suzanne's got her hand up too. So, one of the things that I've been doing is leading delegations, in conjunction with FOSNA and Sabeel. And I encourage everyone to maybe check out the FOSNA website about future delegations that will be going over there. It makes a big difference when you can go and actually see what's going on and come back and tell people about it and have that firsthand knowledge and, be able to say, I saw this.
Great. Thank you. Suzanne, your hand is up.
Are you able to unmute, Susan?
Yes, got it. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry I can't be on video. I wanted to just say that I've been working as a Florida resident part of the year on the case of Mohammed Ibrahim, the young man who is in an Israeli prison. He was arrested at age 15 in February and has been held without access to his family. His family hasn't had access to him. And he is suffering right now from terrible scabies, and he's lost about 25 or 30 pounds. He is was a small child to begin with. Anyway, there is a briefing. I wanted to let you all know that if you're following up with your members of Congress, there is a briefing on Capitol Hill in person next Tuesday, and it will be at 10:30 in the House Triangle. And it will have an amazing array of parents of Americans who have been killed in the region by Israelis. Cindy and Craig Corey, whom many of you know, will be there. And there will be the parents of 4 other young people who have been killed, and the father of the young man in prison. So it's just an important thing to follow. ABC News did an amazing newscast on it last night, if you have a chance to look it up. And it's just another thing to mention to your representatives if you happen to be following up with this meeting.
Suzanne, someone asks if you could please repeat his name and the time of meeting.
Yes, the time of the meeting is 10:30 next Tuesday, the 16th, on Capitol Hill in the House Triangle. And the young man's name is Mohammed Ibrahim, and he is a Florida resident. He turned 16 in prison, and he's in very desperate health, and so we all need to be advocating for his release.
Thank you, Suzanne. Jesse has put a link for Mohammed Ibrahim in the chat. David Hughes has a question. And then Arnold, I see, has his hand up.
Thank you.
David?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. As a proud member, having been raised in the Methodist Church, my mother was indeed a pastor in El Paso and then moved on up to Portland before God bless her, she's in heaven today. I'm so proud of the Methodist Church's stance, the first in the world to do so. There's lots of actions we can take, including pressuring currently the UN General Assemblies and the like. But also, I want to draw folks' attention to what our pastors are going to be going through as well, which is I would very much encourage us to support them kindly, not, it's difficult right now, but to turn so much of the I say it this way, and forgive me if I'm incorrect, but I believe it as such, that the Schofield standardized kind of academic interpretations, which have inundated our nation and the Western civilization, essentially, have blinded an interpretation which becomes as zealot, indeed, evangelical conscription towards the approval of this ideal of nation versus a covenant, which has been broken by an ilk of the Zionists. That they understand the language more clearly. That what apartheid is, occupation is, that you never blame the victim of such. That they're the forms of resistance that have been subserved, as well as our own country right now in Colorado, and I'll bring it to an end with this. Right now in the Democrat forefront, you have for governor 4 known APAC, very APAC-minded and funded supporters. On the Republican side, you have some 19 candidates currently running for governor, and you have a variety of independents. The only, as far as I'm aware, the only pro-Palestinian person that is running for governor in the state of Colorado right now is myself. I've had a stroke. I'm a single dad. I'm on SNAP. I'm at your bare toes, but I've literally filed an affidavit. I have filed the way we do this is we get involved. We kick open this door and we demand things like ethical contracts across the state. We demand state ethics committees to divest, boycott, and what the Methodist Church is doing indeed. I bless you all, and I'll ask you to do this. My only platform that I've been able to manage, because I have no spending, I'm broke. I'll leave it. But you follow me. My title on TikTok, it's my only platform, is Dismantle Zionism. Dismantle Zionism. And if I can contribute to help to guide the pastors to understanding this is not a message of hate, but for righteous cause, for the ending of a genocide, for the ending of an occupation, and what we're watching and witnessing, that we're watching war crimes. And I'll end. You're well educated, I'm sure, but thank you and God bless for your time.
Thank you, David, and good luck on your campaign. So
I'll try my best. Thank you.
Arnold, did you want to?
Yes, I did. I've been a member of an alliance for justice in Palestine in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was spearheaded by Jewish Voice for Peace, of which I'm a Presbyterian member. And we have been doing things like we've convinced both of our senators to vote for Bernie Sanders' joint resolution of denial in terms of giving aid to Israel. We worked on our representatives that we have connections to, that one a little bit more difficult than the other one. And we've been bringing speakers to New Mexico. We had a Zoom meeting in a local Mennonite church with Doctors Against Genocide. Peter Benyard is coming to New Mexico, and he's a very articulate anti-Zionist Jew. We brought Omar Bartov, who is a Israeli-American professor at Brown University, who's an expert on genocide. And he went through the criteria for genocide and declared that he spoke at the university if the Israel was committing genocide. And we continue to have programs like that. And the alliance is Jewish Voice for Peace, several faith groups, Indivisible in Albuquerque, Veterans for Peace, the American Friends Service Committee, and several other organizations that I'm not remembering at the moment, but we've tried to recruit as widely as possible. And we have the involvement of also the Progressive Democrats and some of our state legislators who've been really involved, and one in particular who's been in Gaza and has a lot of connections there. So we've been really active with this, and the group meets every Monday for an hour and a half to talk about what we're doing next. And it seems like every week and every month we have new activities, new speakers, and new efforts. And it has made some difference in terms of the way that our senators have voted, because they initially were hesitant to do that, and now they have both supported the joint resolution of denial. So thank you.
That's great, Arnold. Admirable for all that you're doing. I saw Bernard wanted to make a comment. Please unmute.
Yeah. Hi. I'm very blessed. I'm a lapsed Lutheran, was raised in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. But I have two wonderful children who are Jewish on their mother's side. They consider themselves Juthran. And really take a lot of pride in carrying on the best of both traditions. Unfortunately, their Jewish side of the family are Zionists. So it's caused some uncomfortability in our family. But my kids are very proud anti-Zionist. And with them, we are supporters of Mecca, Middle East.
Bernard, you're frozen. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
Yeah. So, I'm here in San Francisco, and in the Bay Area, we have some wonderful anti-Zionist organizations, Christian, Muslim, secular. We are members of the Jewish Voice for Peace here in San Francisco. That's a great organization. And we have this great organization called Mecca, Middle East Children's Alliance, that provides safe drinking water and food for children in Gaza and in the West Bank. But they also provide educational facilities for them. They also have a program called Teach Palestine, where they try to educate teachers about Palestinian history and Palestinian culture. Unfortunately, our politicians here locally and throughout the state are extremely Zionist, or very much in line with the Israeli lobby. So it's a constant battle. Right now, we're facing a bill in our assembly, AB 715, that is trying to basically censor any kind of anti-Zionist speech in our schools, and have a special position of someone who to determine what is anti-Semitic speech, and liking or associating any kind of anti-Zionist speech with anti-Semitic. So opposing that, especially as a parent, is really important to me. And along with my children, just representing. I often work the buses in the morning at my children's school, and I'm very proud to wear my keffiyeh when I do so. My son just went off to middle school today wearing his Free Palestine sweatshirt, which he proudly wears most days. And my daughter, who's in elementary school, is known ubiquitously with her watermelon hat. So representing. We're very proud to say we have Palestinians, friends, and neighbors and colleagues who are Muslim and Christian. Others who are secular don't identify religiously, but we believe we believe in the promise of America, that birth is not destiny, and free association. And someone like myself, raised Lutheran in the Midwest, could come across the country and start a family with someone with a completely different background and completely different religion. And we're all stronger because of that.
Great. Thank you, Bernard, and for your whole family's testimony to the Palestinian cause. I wanted to draw your attention. I see Andrea, but I wanted to draw your attention to Lubna Hassan's comment in the chat. I am trying to make a connection with the Bible and the Quran so that we can send out the same message to the people of this country to save lives as we all follow the same basic rules of life. And she has at Change Us No Wars. Andrea, would you like to comment?
Yeah, first, I appreciate the opportunity to, be able to call the representatives. I actually got a couple people that I typically don't. Secondly, I just wanted to say that the state of Ohio is on the verge of, passing one of these laws, anti-Semitic laws. I forgot which bill it was. So that's another thing. But the main reason I'm just bringing this up, I don't know if I can get any input on this, but I learned fairly recently that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops is working in collaboration with the American Jewish Committee. They've developed a 61-page online advocacy tool to combat anti-Semitism, but according to the April 6th article in Mondo Vice, the Christian Palestinians were not included in the committee, and it really is to squelch any kind of Palestinian resistance. So I've been in touch with at least one bishop, and my contention is you can't serve two masters. The Catholic theological teaching, social teaching is that you stand with the oppressed. They are collaborating with the American Jewish Committee, which is Zionist. If you look at their website, their rhetoric aligns perfectly with that of Netanyahu and Smotrich. So it kind of explains to me, I'm Catholic, why the Catholic Church has been so lukewarm in its response to what's going on. One of the bishops expressed that he thought it was, kind of bad timing, and why. My thing is, why are you concerned with the nuances of rhetoric when you should be screaming from the rooftops that people are being murdered in a genocide? So anyway, I'm stymied right now because I want to write a story about it, but nobody's willing to talk. So I didn't know if anybody else knew about this. It's called, the document is an online advocacy tool, 61 pages long. It's called Translate Hate Catholic Edition. And one of the words that's considered anti-Semitic is silencing. So so anyway, that's what I'm putting out there. If anybody's aware of it and is pursuing a similar story, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea.
I'm going to immediately go to Abigail.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jesse. I was just writing Andrea a special note. I'm with the Pax Christi International and Pax Christi USA, and we have been in touch with the USCCB. Pax Christi did send a letter with a document rebutting some of the comments in Translate Hate, and I would be delighted to speak with you further. I'll put my email in the chat.
Great. Thank you. This is
You're welcome.
why we wanted to do this, to make connections.
Sure.
Carolyn? Unmute, please.
I just wanted to say, I'm assuming that most of us participate in anti-Trump rallies and demonstrations, that while we are there carrying our No King signs, we also carry our Free Palestine signs so that our neighbors can know, that we're thinking about that. And then maybe if they can, I don't know, change their minds or reinforce what they're already feeling, then it makes us more solid, I think.
Thank you. Lubna Hassan has her hand up.
Me? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was on the headphone. So I'm sorry, I'll be needing to leave pretty soon, so I'll have to leave the meeting. But I just had two thoughts, and they are like, number one is I've been trying to, whenever I get time, trying to create a narrative where I can pass out the main verses from the scripture, which we can share with the people around us in the shopping areas and other places, so that they know what they're supposed to do. Like, I'm a Muslim and I never read I mean, I did some translation back in school, but never really opened the Quran and read it from A to Z with the translation because I don't speak Arabic. Now I've started doing it, and it's very interesting the way everything is connected with the Bible, and all the references being made. Very interesting work. So whenever I get time, I do it, and I'm looking for some support if I can get. Other than that, the main thing I'm looking for is some verses from the Bible, which I can hand out to the people so that they can see what they are supposed to do. Instead of, they need to get away from the Zionist mindset that no, we are supposed to support them, which is not true, as we all know. So this is where I stand, and any support would be appreciated.
Lubna, are you the one with the Livermore Masjid?
I live in Mountain House. This is
Mountain House, okay.
yeah,
I
I
think
met you. I met you last Saturday at the Wadi Farkeen event in
yeah,
Livermore. I was there,
yeah.
and I
So
have
Bob,
connected with Georgia. Sorry,
I
go
want to
ahead.
say Bob was putting me in touch with you, so I'll follow up with that,
Okay,
with the conversation with you.
sounds good. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Naomi, I think maybe one last, and then we should close out. Naomi?
Yeah. Who wants to be last? Johnson, you get the last word. Johnson, you have to unmute.
I'm always praying on behalf of what's happening in Gaza, but also the West Bank. I'm very strong on Wadi Farkeen and Silwan and the Palestinian eyes looking out against the occupation and annexation of Palestinian villages. And that's very strong. That's part of the narrative is the Palestinian eyes looking out against the occupation. And I think we're moving, Westpath is a investment operation that United Methodist Church is using, and we're talking about socially responsible investment, and we're trying to get other more than U.S., Africa, Philippines to be part of Westpath and push for divestment from fossil fuels as well other things as well. So we're moving on that, and that's slow moving, but hopefully we can influence Westpath to not invest not only in fossil fuels, but also in boycotting, boycotting other operations that benefit Israel against Palestinians. So those are the two things.
Great.
John.
Thank you, Johnson, for reminding us about prayer and divestment. So I want to thank all of you for your heartfelt participation and the work you do in the world. And I'll turn it over to Jesse or Michael.
Go back to me, yeah. So let me just share a closing word on this. And one of the reasons why we've taken time to hear from people is that as we're working specifically on the Jerusalem Bill and what's taking place there in the West Bank, we're mindful that people are active in other spaces. And there's always this activism fatigue that goes on. But we want to be able to energize one another by inspiring each other in the work we're doing, but also to be able to help each other support one another along the way. And so it's great that maybe half of you who started out are still with us as we close out the conversation. And just let just to let you know that we do want to build bridges among the various groups that are working together across the board. We're very mindful that the genocide and the horrific situation in Gaza continues. And it's to underscore that we're not trying to take away attention on that, but we're adding this consciousness to what's taking place with the Jerusalem Bill, with the colonization of the West Bank, the latter stages of that colonization. And we have to be working together because it all fits together in a bigger picture. And we're at a really critical moment in time for the Palestinian people. So continue, please, to share the information that you got today with different networks. You made your calls. We thank you for that. Tell other folks that they can make calls as well. Share it. I think Jesse will send out the recording from today's proceedings. And then we'll continue to try to work together. As we mentioned, we're just forging this coalition, and we invite participation from other groups as well. So let us know if you want to more formally join us and be involved with us, and ways that we can really connect our messaging together as well in all that we're doing. So have a blessed rest of the day. Thank you for coming, and let's keep on keeping on. Thank you all.